But I'd like to start off by Lee Strobel, who is a former editor of the Chicago Tribune. He was a legal investigator for the Chicago Trib. Went to a little school you might know called Yale Law School, and the fact he's got his degree there. And he's the one that wrote the book. And Lee, there are two stories that I want you to start off with today, because some people say, miracles, they're just coincidences. And I want you to take it from there and tell us the two stories and ask the question.
Sure. I mean, invite the viewers to decide,
right.
Is this a coincidence or is it a miracle? First story involves a young African-American student in the inner city of Detroit, Michigan. A brilliant young man, had no money. He only had $10 to use as an admissions fee to apply at a university. And he chose Yale and got accepted. So here he is at Yale, going to pursue his dream to become a physician. But bad news. End of the first semester, he's failing chemistry. Chemistry is a prerequisite if you want to become a doctor. And he knew that if he failed that course, his dreams would be dashed. And so he was a Christian. He prayed. And he said, God, all I've ever wanted to do with my life was to become a doctor. What is it that you want me to do? Well, everything depended on the final exam. It was going to be the next day. And he was going to stay up all night and just cram for this exam, because he knew everything hinged on it. But he fell asleep. All seemed lost until he had a dream. And in this dream, a nebulous figure is standing in front of a giant chalkboard in an auditorium classroom setting and writing on the chalkboard various chemistry problems and their solutions. The next day, he goes to take the test. The first question comes right out of his dream. It was a question on the chalkboard. Second question, same thing. Third question, same thing. It turns out that the questions on the test were the same ones that he had seen this nebulous figure write on the chalkboard. He gets a great grade on his exam. He passes chemistry. He later becomes, and by the way, he said to God afterwards, he said, I'll never ask you to do anything like that again.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up becoming one of the great pediatric neurosurgeons in the country. In fact, he was the youngest director of the Department of Pediatric Neurosurgery in history at age 33. He was at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and I think a lot of viewers will know his name. It was Ben Carson. He was later named one of the top 10 most admired men in America. He ran for president, and he later served in the president's cabinet.
Yeah, I met Ben, and the fact is he is the nicest guy you've ever met.
Extremely nice guy. So here's the question. Was that just a coincidence, or could it have been a miracle of God?